deep tech revenue scaler and fund based out of Singapore with approximately 120 startups in our portfolio. And as you may be seeing, we have been hosting quite a few roast sessions, and we call them zero BS roast sessions, which means that there's no bullshit. It's all about giving critical, constructive feedback to the founders as much as possible so that they are not only learning from that conversation, but they are able to improve their overall strategies, product differentiation, and product roadmap. Today, we have Alex on the hot seat. He's going to talk about SIMFINITY product. He's going to talk about what kind of customers he's serving, the traction that he's seeing, and the differentiation, defensibility that he has built around SIMFINITY. And we have a pretty interesting panel today. We have panelists dialing in from Singapore, India, and UK. We are waiting for 2 more panelists who should be joining anytime soon. But without further delay, I would request our panelists to introduce themselves so that we can learn a bit about their background and experience. So Dr. Abhay, if we can start with you, please go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Alexis, and thanks for inviting me, Pankaj. I'm actually a practicing surgeon and also a deep health tech enthusiast. So when I saw the fusion between AI and training, that simulation part got me kind of excited. So I volunteered to be on this panel simply because I feel it's a huge area that is currently underserved.
Thank you, Dr. Abhay. Really appreciate your time today. Monica, if I may request you to go next, please.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Alexis. Nice to meet you. Hi, Dr. Abhay and Pankaj and Sofia, I see from the ATM team as well. It's great to meet all of you. I am a dentist by my background, have practiced clinically a couple of years. Then I shifted gears to the corporate healthcare side of the world. Have worked in Singapore for the last decade across MNCs, startups, nonprofit organizations, and now on a journey to do something of my own. So, Alexis, I'm in the same boat. Maybe you're slightly ahead of me in terms of founding and having the experience of a startup. But yes, I am here to give some little bit feedback and also learn from you.
Fantastic. And Monica, I do understand that you have evaluated hundreds of startups while being in the corporate innovation life. So I'm sure that experience is going to get reflected today as well. So thanks a lot for joining us today. Sofia, may I request you to go next, please?
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Sofia. I'm a doctor and I practice in Italy in some hospitals, but I also practice for a telemedicine service, which also implement AI in the diagnostic pathway. And currently I'm in London because I'm doing a master in global health management with a focus in innovation and entrepreneurship. So I'm really thrilled to hear everything today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Sofia. And Alex, again, you are surrounded by 3 doctors, extremely intelligent 3 doctors. So be very, very careful. Okay, so
it's my daily basis, daily routine.
Why don't we do a start introduction from your side? Why don't we have that, and then we can get into SIMFINITY, please.
So sure. So I'm Alex. I'm French. I've been in China since 2009. Entrepreneur from day one. Tried many things. Some did work, some did not. But 2 of them I exited over the years. I started very basic in the fashion industry, so nothing related to tech or medical. But my second startup was already about technology and e-commerce, and then I always been into tech. In 2015, I got introduced to VR with the HTC Vive, which was really the good device in the immersive and all. And then I realized I could do something with it. Also, for about a decade, I've been teaching in different universities, mostly entrepreneurship, like business modeling, these kind of things. And so because I have this teaching side, and also because my learning approach is really learn by doing. I try everything. I'm very curious and experiment all the time. Hopefully I can carry that to my 3 kids here in China as well. So I decided to combine tech and this teaching part, and then I created SIMFINITY. So in 2019, let's say we were experimenting, and for a couple of years we did, but things got really much more real around 2023. and then catching up last year, and now we're on the fast track to grow. So the idea is really to change the way we learn stuff, because I think education, training, all that stuff is really completely behind, outdated, and not matching the people of tomorrow. So I'm dedicated to that, basically, because I want my kids to learn in a different way, and people in general. So that's what I'm trying to build with SIMFINITY.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Alex, for the quick background. And obviously, being a serial entrepreneur, I'm sure you may have learned a lot of things. So obviously, we are going to see how you have implemented those learnings while building SIMFINITY. So please start sharing your presentation, and let us go through what you have built.
Before
All right.
we start, Pankaj, can I ask a question maybe to you and Alexis? Alexis, are you looking for something in particular from us in terms of, so we can focus on that area more? Is it?
Yes, definitely. So I think I get, you all see the presentation. I made it product oriented. Like, I'm not like here to talk about investment or whatever, but it's more about, since you're all like practitioners in healthcare, maybe we can focus on, does that do you think it's applicable in your field? What's gonna be I mean, we already do that, right? But every country, every area, every unit can be different in terms of culture, in terms of, like trainings, whatever. So I want to show you the product. And then after that, like, I think we can focus around, like, do you see this implemented? Do you think there's going to be major hurdles? Like, I don't know, in terms of adoption, in terms of technicality, like, you can challenge me basically on every aspect of the product based on your understanding, because we need to like, obviously, when you build an edtech startup, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna deploy it all over the world and stuff, and then you just get slapped in the face regularly by different things. Typically, the thing is, in your field, like doctors or any person from the medical sector who's actually interested in learning, they really love the product usually, or at least they're on board. But they have problem with finance people that don't perceive the value. So basically, I need also some feedback about, do you think I'm presenting it the right way for you, but also for whoever, and like in the hospital, like the finance department, or whoever's going to unlock the budget? Because sometimes we see a lot of challenges where the lead doctor is really into it, but he cannot clear, whoever is about the numbers, right? So is it because the product does not bring enough value? Is it because, it's not completely changing everything? So, is it worth spending a bit more to get what is perceived as 10% better increments, this kind of stuff? And also, we can obviously kind of go back and forth about AI in the medical sector. Is it appropriate? What's the limitations? And we can argue about whether it's gonna replace completely human trainers and teachers or not, this kind of stuff. So I think let's go product oriented. And would you implement it in your structure or in your job? Or if not, why, basically? Or feel free to just straightforward tell me, that won't work because that and this.
Yep.
That's a very long answer, but you got me inspired.
Let's go ahead and we'll take more questions. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me share. Let's see if that works.
Yep.
You got the screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's what SIMFINITY does, right? We are aware that the next generation learns differently. They use, smartphone, they swipe, they tap, they watch short format videos, and yet we still give them PowerPoint seminars, day classes, and all that stuff. So that's how we got started, because we think we need to change that. And obviously, if you look at numbers, there is a problem in the corporate sector. There's $400 billion spent yearly on corporate training. 90% goes straight to trash. Everyone forgets, is very ineffective. And for your specific sector, it's a bit of an extrapolation, but like, it has a cost, right? Medical training, there's medical errors. There is, like, many of people kind of linked somehow to medical errors in airlines. I didn't put it here, but airlines has the same issue. A lot of planes are redirected because of medical emergencies that could be treated on board or dealt with, but the crew is untrained, so they have no idea what they're doing, and they just land the aircraft, even though for someone who had like a seizure. And a seizure doesn't mean someone will, is close to like critical stage, right? But because it looks scary, then they would just, panic land the plane. So what I mean is it has a cost, like improper training has a cost, and we cannot train all these people with the ways you do it now. So that's why we built SimCloud. So SimCloud is one platform. You see 4 steps here. The idea is we take the SOPs, the tutorials, the cases, any files we have from the customers, put it in the platform, and within minutes, not weeks, not months, we can turn it into immersive content. So the fastest being AI, but we can even do VR. You will see multiple things. And the second good part is once we have the immersive content, we also have another AI that will provide feedback to you as a personal teacher, right? So the full loop from content creation to delivery to feedback. So that's what the product is about. Now, what it looks like in reality, so here, I'm going to pause here just to intro you. So this is our own tool on our own platform where we can create AI-based scenarios. So the idea is in a few seconds, we have this engine where we can, build up a whole scenario. So how does that work? We give a bit of description here. It's for training about allergy, anaphylaxis. Sorry for the term, anaphylaxis for cabin crew. So we give some context. We could give evaluation rules. It's a bit fast. Let me go here. So here on this part, we get. Yeah, I'll do it again. I'll just have to find the right button. So we put the content, let's say, we can roll back to it if we want. So we put the context, who's the player, what's the content, how do we evaluate people? This is based on usually airlines, recommendations. So here you have medical response, but also communication. We put any document they have about, the process and stuff. Here is our NPC, so our virtual passenger. In this case, John, who's distressed. We give some feedback, a bit of context. That could be your patient. And actions, because there's stuff you can do, give oxygen, recline seat. So the idea is we can very quickly put all that information into the tool, and then push a button is ready to go. So once it's ready to go, on the other side, as users, so if you're a medical student, if you're airline crew, you grab your phone, just put your email, log in with your crew ID, and then you get access to the same scenarios I just deployed. So here it's non-scripted. It's what you see here is text-based. So you go chat with the virtual passenger, and they will tell you, I cannot breathe. Okay, I'm gonna help you. Then you can use actions because sometimes it's more than voice, right? So here I can administer oxygen, I can call for help. So the idea is I have to, as a crew, take action, decide what to do. And then solve the whole situation. So what you see here is unscripted. It changes every single time, but it's also constrained into this specific scenario. So unlike chatting with ChatGPT, you cannot go all over the place. It always stays within constraints. You can also use your voice, so you can speak to it. Here I'm doing text because I'm speaking at the same time, but that's the idea. So you cover the whole scenario, and then it takes a few seconds, and then you get directly a report generated from the AI coach telling you, what you did right, what you did wrong. So that's what we do typically for airlines, but for medical students, so airlines, we have all that, first aid pack, allergy, burn wound, laceration, like whatever can happen on board an aircraft. Now, for the medical sector, we do a bit more complex cases. So patient management, we go preclinical, clinical, like complex cases where when you have to chat with the patient, but also maybe their relatives, to do communication. And the last kind of scenario we have with our current medical customers are trainer-based scenarios. So instead of talking to a virtual patient or virtual passenger, you talk to a virtual teacher and they challenge you on cases. So that's the main tool. So I'll show you the creation. I'll show you the way to play it. And if we go a bit further, we even can deploy in VR. So kind of similar scenario here. Scan the headset with the same app. So one app for everything, right? So it takes few seconds, and the students are ready to go. So in this case, we are back into the allergy scenario, but this time in virtual reality. So it's exactly the same scenario, but like you play it, right? So you have to communicate with the patient, call for help, which I just did on the other side, right? So this time, however, you're in the virtual plane by yourself, hands-on, full-on immersive VR, right? So step by step, you have to complete all the actions. And once everything is completed, same idea, you remove your headset, go to your phone, get a report. So that's one platform to deliver all this kind of immersive training and all under one thing. We even managed to connect, for example, a CPR mannequin, so you can do your CPR on the physical device, get a report, all in one centralized location, and obviously connected to the system of the university, the hospital, or whoever needs the data. So for the clients, and that's pretty much my last slide, we work with our biggest customer is CU Hong Kong, the Chinese University of Hong Kong, medical sector. Plus, now we're deploying on 2 more universities, and we work with a dozen hospitals in the Greater Bay Area, as they call it. So that would be, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, like all around there. We work with the Red Cross in China, with the 120, which is the equivalent of 911 emergency service in China, to train their first responders. We already live, right? So it's a sold product. We achieved $250,000 last year in revenue. We'll do over $500,000 this year, definitely. We have about 5,000 learners, so it's like students, medical professionals, but even other industries, and mostly in healthcare, but also aviation and even corporate. So that's overall. I know I had like 6 minutes, so I make it a bit quick, right? But now is the time for your questions and to start, challenging what you've seen, and yeah, let's chat.
Please feel free to unmute yourself and we can take questions. Thanks a lot, Alex. I think that was super efficient. Yeah.
Thanks.
Monica, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go. It's quite impressive, Alex, and I love that you are just not confined to one industry and you have a breadth of industries to reach out to. I just have one question. It can sound very naive. How does it work midair on the flight? Does it need internet?
Oh, so actually the AI one, yes, you need the connectivity. So we do not use it as a live support tool at this stage. We use it as a training tool, right? So for practice and continuous learning. I think there is a way to do it, like to leverage the knowledge. And already actually CU Hong Kong asked for, before we do it offline, they asked us to repurpose the training scenarios and to create an agent that can answer about, like all these cases. So we already building this. But for now, we want to, we start by training, upskilling, because using it as a live tool to solve a situation, there's definitely more, it's heavier in terms of regulations and all that stuff. But I guess it would be possible as long as you can run some kind of AI on board. A bit early tech-wise, I think.
Yeah, but we are getting there soon. Soon there'll be the support on flight very, very soon, not very far away.
I agree with you.
Yes, Professor Abhay, please go ahead.
Yeah, what is your business case? Let's assume as a hospital, someone wants to say that we would like you to be a part of the simulation suite. What's your business model?
Okay, so the business model, obviously we've been exploring over the years, but the latest and the way we work with the like CU Hong Kong, so that's 1,800 students. They pay a fee for the platform, so annual fee to access SimCloud plus they put credits basically because AI stuff works with credits. But overall, it costs about, I would say, $30 per year per student, and they use it a couple of hours per month. So that's the end cost to the university. So it's a good question, and I know it varies so much in between institutions that this is a challenge for us. And I don't believe we did find the exact price, because some university says, I want to pay one time and never again, and I want to own that. I feel like it's a constant battle with the customers on that.
The second point is there will be content creation involved because every training scenario is different. Is that something
Yes.
you take care of, or is it something that the user has to create?
So by experience, because I've been backing startups as well, SaaS startups, I know that it's very difficult to have the customer create their own content, even though they feel like they're interested. Oh, can I have access and stuff? But the reality of it is, especially in the medical sector, you guys are already so busy that like, where will you free 2 hours on top of that to create content? I'm not sure. Maybe the 0.1%. So what we do is we do handle the content creation, and we do it free. That's our positioning, right? So the only thing we do is if the customer wants to own the content we created for them, then we can charge a copyright fee and then transfer the ownership of the content. So for now we do that because we realize it's much easier, and we do not charge for that. So we dedicate a medical project manager, for example, for your industry, and they would work with you, get your cases, and we take care of building, testing, and deploying.
So one last question. There are two platforms. One is a chat-based platform. The second is a virtual reality platform. For a VR platform, there's a lot of intense cost involved for owning the device, simply because the VR device is an expensive device at the moment. So how do you handle that?
So for now, basically, we know also that the problem with VR, the device get obsolete very fast, right? So over a couple of years, it's gonna be like iPhones; they will disappear. So we do rent them to the customers if they want to, and we're not making any money on that, but we just ease the friction on that. So CU Hong Kong, basically, we assign device to them, they rent it at a low price, and that lets them renew their park all the time. So next year, when the next model is out, then they will switch over to the next model. So it's not ideal for us, but we work tightly with Pico, for example, which is a mainland-based company, the competitor of Quest, and they do good products. And that's one way we can, manage to do it, because we believe anyway, if we facilitate access to hardware, then like the software will follow. So yeah, that's what we do.
Perfect. I'll keep quiet here, but welcome Onkar. Onkar happens to be an old friend of mine. Hi, Onkar. Greetings from Pune. I'm in India at the moment.
Yeah, we must catch up. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Are you from Pune by any chance? Did you
Yes,
mention Pune? Oh, Pune is my hometown, Prophet. It's my hometown. What a small world.
Maybe I'll go now.
No, carry on. Like I said,
No, carry on. Sorry to take away the attention from you.
Dr. Sofia, I know you have a question. Please go
I
ahead.
have a question. Like, I know that many universities already do this kind of simulations, like maybe like not these technologically advanced ones, but like still, like they create like a simulation, like something and students have to react, like to manage like the situation there. So what would you say would be the value like added like from this?
Yeah, so that's a good question, but like we saw actually, if I revert back a little bit, I've been visiting a lot of simulation centers, like in Asia, and then the way we built SimCloud, the platform, is also to be able to support other solutions, because I realized many simulation centers they have a ton of fancy machines. They have the SimMan 3G. They spend $100K US per machine. These machines are good. They're smart, but then I see like 100 students lining up. They tap admin 12345, and they all use the same account because it's cumbersome. It's not integrated. So to answer your question, the idea is SimCloud can carry other projects, and actually we did it with CU Hong Kong. We did it with Cathay Pacific. So they all have local initiatives with different VR companies that are probably very good, or even a group of students at building content, but they always end up with five different solutions in 5 different rooms, and it's not streamlined. So the magic of what we do is like they can buy just the license of SimCloud. They don't even have to get our own VR, and they can load their VR on there, and then it makes everything super smooth as well. So that's one of the value we bring. So we do not have to fight for them. We can actually onboard their own content onto the platform and make it much easier for them to like manage everything. So that's my answer. So that's our approach as well. We have a SDK and API, so they can integrate. We can work with their vendors or with their student team. And we've been doing this before because I think you do not want to replace that stuff. We want to just, put it on platform as well. So this we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Abhay, please go ahead. You're mute.
Yeah, I'm just very curious, since you would let students have the feedback, what has been their feedback about your system?
I think the problem with children is they do not want to stop using it. So we have to extract them from VR. To be fair, the thing is, if I can draw you a very easy chart with age and adoption, and the lower you go in age, the more instant they get into these media, right? So it's crazy. But you put them on AI. You put our product, AI products, where you talk to a virtual patient. You give it to a 40 years old. They're like, or 50 years old, I'm 40 years old, like 50, 60, whatever, like people who are my age or more, they're like, they struggle. They're like, what am I supposed to do and stuff. Yeah, like a 20 years old student, they take it and they speak to it like it's their buddy, like they don't even question. They like just start to speak about it and try to do stuff. And that's exactly what I told them. Like when we experiment on new scenarios, they just break everything and they go for it. They try every direction. They try to trick the bot. We had a bug very early thanks to student trying. We never realized, but 6 months ago, through the students, we realized that if you started a session where you talk to a virtual patients and you say, look, I did everything right, and now you're in good health, then the game will finish and you get 100% score because you told the AI, I did a good job. So, this kind of stuff comes from the younger users. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about us.
Can I ask a question? Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yes.
So, Alexis, how does it work in terms of business case? If you're building custom by custom for every use case, and not all the scenarios are meant to be scaled in healthcare, sometimes some scenarios are very small. And as a startup, I don't know if you have funding, but most of the time startups struggle for resources. So how do you make it a business case for so many use cases?
The thing is, the platform I show you actually makes it very straightforward to create I just have to upload a few documents. I push a button and I already have something that is very good. That's how powerful it is. So our main issue is more to constantly, I think the risk, as you say, we need funding anyway, because we need to innovate on the R&D part. And we're using so many AI techs and they're moving forward, like they're evolving a lot as well. So I think the problem is not in the content creation, because we did hire a project manager with medical knowledge. When we are getting into an industry, we need, in-house somehow, some kind of knowledge. But this combined with ChatGPT or similar, it makes it quite easy to get to make the content ready. So we have a proven testing system, and now we're automating testing, because the thing is, creating the content is not very complicated, but making sure it's not completely crazy, that's another level of stuff. So we've been doing this for a year, and now we are already starting to roll out automatic testing. So which means we have another AI which is playing the scenario like 100 times and like saying like, okay, this is wrong, this is right. So yeah, that's the way we approach it.
Okay. Leveraging AI is a smart thing. ChatGPT and all other models is smart. But in terms of business sense, I mean, how much does it cost you to make one scenario, and how much can you make from that one scenario? Do you have any numbers to share so that, we can also...
Yeah, sure. Typically, so yeah, it's a bit the comparison is interesting. We we do the the finance at the team level plus consumption of LLM and how much. So I didn't do a correlation in between the time spent by my project manager and the revenue generated by a specific scenario. I do not have that specific information. But what I can tell you is, it really varies according to complexity. But for a new medical tutorial that is provided by like a few pages of Word document about a patient case like endocrine or something like that, it took us like a day of one day to actually make it work properly. And so these kind of scenarios, then they will run on SimCloud. So for the SimCloud running in terms of credit, I'm gonna check right now. Hold on a sec. Because it varies all the time as well, because it's gonna like the fees of ChatGPT also vary. So that's the tricky part. But I'm gonna tell you an estimation of the revenue, and I can actually make the calculation like this on the fly. Give me a second. I'm just opening the latest.
You don't have to share the calculation with me. It's for you that every
No,
you make a content for a use case.
so basically, yeah. Basically, to answer you, if they play students play per hour, like 1 hour of text-based scenario is gonna cost the student around 50 cents per month. That's gonna be the cost to university, right? So they play 1 hour and a half months, that's 50 cents. And the audio version is more expensive, like it's $1 because you need to compute that stuff. So basically, one scenario will generate around $1 per month per student if we don't deploy too many scenarios. So it's actually covering the more we scale, we can cover the cost, because the product manager fully charged. They work 20 days at SIMFINITY. They make maybe $3,000. So that's going to be 150 per day, right? So we can cover that pretty fast. But I think I should be equipped to answer you much better next time. So that's something I'm going to compute, because that's an excellent question. So I believe it's profitable, but I need to go back to my Excel file and do better calculations. Thank you for challenging that.
Let's take next question from Professor Abhay, please.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm very well aware of LLMs being leveraged. I presume you're using open source LLMs, right?
So actually, we can change the LLM as per our customer requests. So you can pick any LLM you want. We can connect to an API key, and then we do the layer in between. So basically, we can have different customers using different LLM. We're also running our own version of DeepSeek, because we've been working with DeepSeek for a year and a half now. So we're in partnership with them in Amazon. So we run our own instance to deliver that.
So there lies a challenge. Complex medical scenarios, when you use LLMs, they quite frequently generate hallucinations.
Yes.
I have absolutely tested them, and my anxiety would be in a simulation scenario that can be very, very tricky. How do you handle that?
Yes. So right now, the current tech, as you see it, like the scenario editor, right? So it's gonna generate a master prompt. So the architecture is a bit different than when you chat directly with a LLM, because we use an LLM as an engine, right? So we pick any, but at every single interaction you have with the bot, we will prompt the context and check for hallucination. So we managed to optimize that so it's invisible to the user, so you don't see that we're computing. But every single interaction back and forth is processed through our own filters. So you can never hallucinate, because it will be given the context at every single message. So that's the way we avoid that. So we lose a bit in speed, but we gain in accuracy. So we do not have this issue, because we don't send everything to a ChatGPT directly, right?
I presume you got validation data.
Yes. So what we do is, like, usually we use a RAG to put all the documentation or all the information, and it will tap into that as well. So it will always triple check everything. And like, if I simplify it, but basically we're gonna send a request, we're gonna give a master prompt, get an answer from the whatever LLM is connected to, and we're gonna analyze the answer, check whether it's accurate or not, backed by our database, our data, right? And then if it's not, push it back, generate another message, all that in a few milliseconds, so you don't see it.
May I request Dr. Onkar? He has been patiently listening. If you have any questions or comments so far, Dr. Onkar.
Well, I'm here on a learning curve, right? Because I just saw this in LinkedIn, right? And my background is health, right? But I am keen to see how AI will be impacting. I'm as everybody knows, a practicing clinician, but also have a political background and others. So I'm just learning where we are, right, in the field of AI. So I was just here to learn. I have no expertise in AI. I just want to learn what the language is and what's happening. So I'm here just to soak up knowledge from you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate. appreciated. You are being extremely modest. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Let's see if there are questions from Dr. Sofia, Dr. Monica.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe like if it's possible maybe for the most complex cases that AI could make some mistakes maybe. So like do you think that maybe students would just like assimilate like a malpractice like instead of like actually do the correct things?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basically, like we try to guarantee as much as possible that we don't have mistakes. As I was saying, by testing regularly the scenarios, automatic testing, we have a feedback system as well from students. So like, teacher and students do test regularly and then provide feedback whether, it's bad or like you do in ChatGPT, right? You have an interface
Like
saying
you're gonna like make teachers or like doctors actually try first and then like give.
Definitely. So we do internal, then we do with teachers and senior students, then we roll it out. We also have a series of automatic testing that cross-checks everything, all the backlog, like because every conversation we have is recorded. Also, why? Because there's two steps, right? There's the interaction where you chat with the bot, and then we take all that text, we feed it to another AI that will review your performance and give you a grade, right? So at this stage, we're also able to detect anything that looks, wrong. Because we back check it with the
AI. Like there will be like no one like double checking actually.
human factor.
We're actually testing the product.
We do manual testing a lot, definitely, but at some point the idea is to get rid of that. So we still do a lot of manual testing with doctors, with students, and internal. But if you want to scale that as a business, definitely you need to trust the AI. So you cannot trust an AI directly, as we were just discussing. If you just send everything to ChatGPT, it goes a bit crazy. But the fact that our tech is in between AI and the interface and double checks everything, that's kind of the magic part that we make it much more accurate and less likely to go crazy. Cannot guarantee 100% because we're still dealing with AI, right? But the fact that we put the safeguards really puts the errors down to very minimal.
Okay, because sometimes like even when you ask ChatGPT some questions and like sometimes it gives you like the wrong answer, you say, no, actually this is the answer. Like it kind of
And it's like, oh, okay.
like just exactly, it just agrees with you. So like, do you think that that could be the case sometimes?
Our middle prompt usually avoids that. We have two technologies going. So we have a kind of constant prompting and, like, I don't know how to explain it. We give back the context at every interaction. So every single message you send, we're going to retell the AI everything, right? So that's already changing. And the second thing we have, I've showed quickly, but you have a document base at some point, right? So you might see it as a database. We do have a database that contains Good Doctor Hong Kong, which is the basic manual of practitioners in Hong Kong, all the medical database and stuff. So it's going to also tap into that and cross-check. For now, it's really, we don't see, for now, our main issue is not even that, to be fair, and we're rolling it out already. Our main issue is more about making the AI more human, because when you make it especially behave like a teacher, they will tend to give you more information that you need. They will tell you, okay, this is a patient, SpO2 is wrong. What do you think? And then if you say, I don't know, maybe he has a cough, and it's gonna be, no, it's not this. He's he's hypoventilating, blah blah blah, and then he's gonna give you way too much answer. So our issue right now is not about accuracy, because really we've been doing plenty of testing. It's more about realism and be able, because the AI is built for answering you everything you need, right? And we are working against that in the case of digital teachers, to tell the AI, please do not tell everything and just, hint the student to progress. This is the biggest challenge now.
Okay, thank you.
I see Dr. Abhay has to leave in 5 minutes. So if I may request Dr. Abhay to provide one piece of advice. Yeah.
Alexis, I think you're doing very good job, but I'm going to give you 3 suggestions. Number 1 is don't try to do too many niches. Either go for aviation or go for medicine. They are similar, they're very, very different. The second thing is you have to establish yourself as a leader in any one space. And in order to do that, collaborate with other competitive technologies. So for instance, someone is doing avatars and you can do simulations and hold hands with them. Because what you need to understand is this is not a game of playing alone. I have done startups, so I'm very well aware of what it takes. And a lot of the
Yes.
time we feel very, very alone and defeated when we are spending so much of time and nothing much is happening. So my
Yes.
suggestion is we are all here to support you. Reach out, we can talk, we can guide, we can open our networks, and let's do that for each other. Because it is a network game, it is not an individual game. And last but not
Copy that.
least, I'll say that don't give up. I'm
Yeah.
assuring you that medical education is one area that is definitely going to be at the forefront. Because in the future, we're going to expect a lot of efficiency from doctors. We won't have enough doctors to train other doctors. You know, the current model is I spend 40% of my time training others. Now, my time is very expensive, so that time has to be accounted for. So in future, when I'm expected to only be a surgeon 7 days a week, who's going to train the next surgeons? So that's where simulation comes in. And a lot of universities in India are already building big simulation labs. Exactly like Hong Kong. But like I said, we really need to take the whole thing as a single service, a single offering, either in aviation or in medicine, but be absolutely the one go-to offering. Right now, I saw a lot of good parts in your offering, but I felt there's a lot of confusion. There's not that much clarity. And that's very classical of early stage startups. Because if I give you an opportunity in aviation or tomorrow, even if I take you to a completely different area, you'll be happy to come with me simply because there's revenue there. And given
Yes.
that you're dependent on revenue at the stage, it becomes very tempting. So the answer to that is different. The answer is find strategic partners. You know, I'll give you a very simple example. What about training doctors on new medicines? We have an army of medical representatives employed by every pharma company, and they have a budget in billions. So if I take this simulation, exactly the same thing, except this time the medical student is the actual doctor. And they learn about the new medicine in their own time. To say, okay, you want to know more about this medicine? I know you're busy. Whenever you get time, you can just check and play with it. And when we certify you as
Okay.
competent, then you're allowed to prescribe it. Now, suddenly the pharma industry will be very interested in it. So as I said, it's a question of finding yourself one niche, only doing one thing, and doing it as a team. And I promise you, you will be uber successful. There's no doubt about it, that in my mind.
Thank you for the feedback. I'm
That's
taking notes.
that's really
Okay.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thanks.
lot, Professor Abhay. We'll reconnect soon. And obviously, as startup people, we are always extremely selfish. We are always very greedy, trying to get as much support as possible. So definitely, we'll reach out to you and try to learn from your insights and try to probably leverage your network as well. So appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah. Dr. Sofia, Dr. Monica, Dr. Onkar, any last piece of advice from your perspective that Alexis should definitely need to think about?
I do have one with whatever Dr. Abhay said. I would like to add on that. When, especially in terms of how you communicate with other doctors in other geographies, other regions, they would want to know how this is validated. Hallucination is a big challenge in mind of every doctor I speak to, or any healthcare professional. Even per se, if you tell me you're a healthcare professional, I'll train you. I won't believe you at first go, because I have been trained on those textbooks which have been verified over centuries. So if you come and tell me that, I have manually tested it, or I've taken feedback from my own doctors, or I've taken feedback from students, that is not enough for me, or
Okay.
any healthcare professional. They would want that validation that I have based this on so and so book, or I
Okay.
have taken this and I've tested with this hospital, and we have done testing on so many patients, and this was our success rate, 99% success rate or 97%, and the 1 or 2% is hallucination. And if you can tell them how do you spot those hallucinations, when it makes that hallucinations, they will be even more confident to use it, rather than saying that it is 100% hallucination free. They will not buy it. They will not buy it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So maybe
Okay.
that
That's a good approach. Yeah, quantify a bit more and explain the solution proactively about how do we avoid that issue
yes,
and
yes.
prove it by research. Okay.
Yes, back it by research, like the the data is not just the content creation by a student or by a university teacher, but by textbooks, which have been used in medical education for ages. So if you use something like this, I think there'll be more trust in your product than having, if you give generic answers, I doubt if people would, happily come over
Yeah.
as a product.
Okay. Very clear. We
To
can
add
do that.
on that, like sometimes I think you can also ask like maybe to more experienced doctors, like if they have like a case in mind that's like maybe a bit peculiar, like that could be like some other case that you can actually propose to students. And also I have another thing in mind, like if you have to go globally, like if you think about like expanding, you have to keep in mind that there's like different guidelines like for doctors to follow. So that should be also like taken into consideration.
Yeah, we need to learn, like, that's the issue, right? We need to understand each zone, what process
Exactly.
use. I mean, we already saw that even at first aid level, because we started there, like we were doing first aid training a couple of years ago. And then we realized that, in Europe, we don't even do rescue breath anymore. We just do compressions. And then in China, they do rescue breath and compression, but EpiPen are forbidden for allergies. But in Hong Kong, they tolerate it, but not sold.
Yeah,
It's like, it's interesting. So I feel you. I think definitely that's why now we focus on on China, mainland, plus Hong Kong, plus APAC. It's kind of streamlined, but definitely I'm aware there will be some adaptation work so that we have to be very careful when we pick our markets, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My only observation is that you obviously have focus on medical education. I missed the first part, okay, but I mean, if that's but I agree with Abhay, right? The bigger section maybe working with trained doctors rather than postgraduate training. And let's not forget, medicine is about human beings treating human beings, right? Okay, and then the question is how much AI do you bring into it, right? And how much is valuable. So I and yet I hear about things like in China, hospitals called hospital agent, where patients are clerked in by bots, right? And then they say AI computers, they clock them in, right? And then they take them into the so we have that sort of technology available. And also there's a study done between Stanford University and Google, right, where the consultations were better with the AI bots, right, rather than the real doctor. So I think there's a lot of AI technology there. But the question is why is medical education the right sector for you to aim for? Okay, and what your reason for that is, and you probably have gone through that. But I actually think that the postgraduate education of established doctors is a good niche market to go for. Okay, and I agree with Abby on that. That's where we are, rather than taking on the trainer of gambling of training doctors, because after all, look, we are already facing the challenges of AI and social media. Okay, and let's not forget that we're not dealing with just diseases, right, but with human beings who have diseases, right? And I want to make sure that balance is kept intact in medical education.
Thank you.
So those are my inputs, right? Although I'm sorry
Thank you.
I have joined you early on time.
No worries.
That really, really appreciate it. And Alexis, I think you have done a fantastic job. It was a roast session, but I think the panelists were extremely generous, extremely kind. I see
Thank
you did
you
not cry,
for
you did not
sparing me.
sweat. So that's a good thing. I think they were generous because it's a Friday evening for you. They didn't want to ruin your weekend. But again, thanks to all the panelists. And obviously, we would love to reconnect, have side conversations, and see how we can support each other, how we can grow collectively, and be part of each other's success. Alex, any final words from your side?
No, I think it's a good, plenty of good insights. And I think some of the, as we said, as a founder, some of the problems we're aware, some of them we choose to ignore. So it's good to get a refresher sometimes that, we're like, if that works with this client, then I don't need to worry about that. But definitely if the goal is to scale up and to develop to the whole medical world, then we need to be aware of these and I think anticipate them, right? So as you were saying, Monica or Sophia, see the problems coming. The thing is, you tend to be so much into your building the product and stuff. So that's great to get insights, on that. So I would say, yeah, thank you for the feedback. I think definitely I need to be able to answer much more concrete numbers and data backed about the hallucination. I'm glad that you guys are all worried about that, because I mean they are also here. So definitely a main problem I need to address more proactively. And then yeah, focus. That's definitely something to do. So I think plenty of things to think about. That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the whole
Thank you,
point.
Alexis. You did a fantastic job. Thanks to all the panelists again. Appreciate your time, and we'll reconnect soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Bye.
Cheers.
Goodbye.